Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another weather forecast here by Adrian's Weather Forecast. This will be another update here on this multi-day severe weather outbreak that will be happening all the way from now on, all the way to Thursday. We have now a major update here on the day 2 outlook and day 3 outlook. Again, we can possibly see large hail, hook echoes, supercells, tornadoes, and a lot more in the exact same areas that we have seen this happening for the past 2 weeks, and also starting to see the severe weather ramp up in the original tornado alley here in Oklahoma and Texas. We have very high numbers for the tornado probability, and also very high for possible supercell probability. So very likely we can have another major outbreak. This one could possibly be worse than the one that we saw last Sunday, because this can be a lot more widespread than any of the outbreaks we've seen so far this month, stretching all the way from the tip of New Mexico to the Carolinas. So again, please be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Again, it really means a lot when you guys support my channel. Let's try to get to a couple more. Let's try to get to 2,150 subscribers by the end of today. And also be sure to share the channel to any friends or family so you can help me grow faster. And also, again, if you know anybody that wants to know about the severe weather that it could help them get prepared, be sure to share. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So we're going to be looking at the day 1 outlook here. Again, this is nothing new. Again, we still have this marginal threat areas in Colorado here into the areas of the suburbs of Texas. Again, that's what we're seeing mainly a low risk today, even with the slight risk for Oklahoma, Texas, and parts of the far southern tips of Kansas and parts of New Mexico. Again, even in that risk, we have a very, very low chance for seeing tornadoes and hail. The hail threat's a bit higher, but tornado we only have a 2% chance even in the slight risk, where we tend to see even a 5% chance. But again, today's gonna be the lowest threat for really anything. This level 2 really gonna be seeing some scattered very strong bands later in today. Really, we won't really start seeing these bands until the overnight hours. Really, could be seeing a couple of scattered thunderstorms later on today. But again, with that marginal threat areas out there in the south central, seeing mainly as a really minor threat as well. There's a slight risk, and we also have that potential for severe bands in the mid-Atlantic, but that will be mostly over the next couple hours in the coming hours. But we have yet to see the severe weather really starting up in Oklahoma. Again, we have a slight risk. That's where we have our best chance really for hail and, of course, tornadoes. So very likely to see very little of a threat for tornadoes, really. Again, tornado threat again is a 2% chance as well. Again, very, very low. That's going to be for areas into Oklahoma, New Mexico, parts of near Lawton, Oklahoma area in the southwestern part of the state, and the far northern part of Texas. And then we see a bit of a higher risk here. We have now a 15% chance here for hail. Again, the hail threat's a bit higher. Now the major update here. This is a day 2 outlook. Again, last time we checked, we only had a slight risk. Now we actually have an enhanced risk. And this is actually not good whatsoever, because we have areas back that we saw in the Easter outbreak that had a enhanced risk back in it, like Shreveport. Actually, Shreveport had I believe a moderate. But again, now back with another level 3. We can possibly see the level 3 now for tomorrow and Thursday, which is not something we want whatsoever. Again, this tomorrow we have a way bigger threat for seeing tornadoes, especially out here in the Texas area and Oklahoma. And the bands will be arriving later in the day tomorrow in the Louisiana and Mississippi area, but Arkansas as well. You guys in the western part of the state definitely be seeing a big risk for scattered severe weather bands or severe weather bands that could possibly be tornadic. Again, definitely a chance to possibly look in the lookout for any very strong severe weather and tornadic hook echoes. Definitely can produce some, again, tornadic thunderstorms. But again, a marginal risk that's going to be at much of the lower Mississippi Valley, including areas continuing the south central there. Again, very low risk for anything, really tornadoes, hail, and wind, very low, but again, still possibly seeing some stronger bands. Some strong bands, but again, those bands that you'll be seeing won't be producing a big risk. And the slight risk, that's a bit different. Now it's getting a bit higher. Now we have a bigger risk of tornadoes and hail compared to today, and the exact same risk. Again, that's going to be for areas in Oklahoma City, including areas out there into western Mississippi, western Tennessee, there in the Memphis area, also including much of Louisiana, much of eastern Texas, including Houston, Alexandria, and Monroe. And then in the enhanced risk, that's where we have that best risk for seeing very strong severe weather bands. Again, that's the new extension here. That's where we have the best chance for tornadoes. And it's very likely we'll definitely be seeing tornadoes in these areas. Again, a lot of moisture, and also the wind shear will be coming in place by tomorrow as well. That's why we actually have this extension here. And again, that's going to be for actually very big cities like Shreveport, now Little Rock, including areas to much of southeastern Oklahoma, and even Dallas and Fort Worth. You guys are actually in the tip or the kind of the edge of this enhanced risk, so also very likely to see tornadoes there as well. And again, so definitely a very big risk for Texas this time. Very, very unlikely though for a moderate risk. That would be very unlikely though. Again, as we look at the tornado risk, it actually has gone up quite a bit now. That's why we have a 10% chance here. There are areas near Dallas. Again, that 10% chance won't be for the whole enhanced risk. It's going to be mainly for Oklahoma and Texas where we have that enhanced risk, and areas for Arkansas, Louisiana where we have that enhanced risk. You guys are going to be in the 5% chance because it's very unlikely for these bands that once they get to Arkansas and Louisiana to actually be a very big tornadic thunderstorms. Again, the very, very big risk is going to be for Oklahoma and Texas. Like I said, it's going to be mainly really a Texas band tomorrow because it's also going to be arriving very late in the day for Mississippi and Louisiana, even parts of Arkansas. So that's why it's mainly Texas. Texas will be in that risk all day. Again, we have the 10% chance. That's our highest risk. That's basically seeing around a 20 to a 30% chance for tornadoes, because I know the tornado risk has a 10% chance, but it's always going to be lower because you can't guarantee the location and even seeing a tornado. So the 10% chance in that yellow, including areas near Dallas, Fort Worth, and much of southeastern Oklahoma. Hail threats also very high now to 30% chance. Again, the worst threat again is looking at Dallas. You guys are definitely looking like you guys might want to be on the lookout and maybe get plans just in case we have any potential tornadic thunderstorms throughout, which is really likely, especially going to be seeing a lot of debris with this hail, very large hail likely. I'll be looking at radar scope most of the day since I still can't live stream. I could possibly live stream maybe by the end of May if everything goes well with once I get monetized. But again, 30% chance throughout areas into northeastern Texas, and also against southeastern Oklahoma. And then we have that scattered 15% chance for hail throughout the other areas where we have the enhanced risk and slight risk. So a bit of a widespread for hail. And then wind threats going to be a bit different here. That's going to be very widespread, not only including the Texas areas and Oklahoma, but also including Arkansas and Louisiana, where we have the enhanced risk. This wind threat will mostly be for the general enhanced risk again, because there's going to be really strong winds with these thunderstorms, and they'll be moving at a very fast rate. Again, at the day 3, this is not the huge update, but I actually just realized that looking at the counties here, I'm actually on the edge. I'm almost at the edge. I'm like right here. So I'm really, really close to the edge of the enhanced risk. So even if they move it just one county, I will be in it. So I'm actually maybe like 5 miles, 10 miles from the enhanced border, because it is in the county next to me. And it's in the far southern part of my county. Again, this is also tomorrow. This is also Thursday. So as you can tell, back-to-back enhanced risk. I feel like in this, if there is going to be a moderate added anywhere, or any day, it will be Thursday. If it will be anywhere, I feel like this moderate risk will be added mostly for this area right here. This is where I feel like the moderate risk will be added. I think that'll be the best area to see that moderate be added, especially throughout south central Georgia, areas in southeastern Alabama, where we have that very big threat, especially if you look at the SCP and the STP. They're very high threat areas in southwestern Georgia. Definitely southwestern Georgia looks like they can definitely, if it's not incredibly likely to actually happen, but if it does happen, it's possible. But if it will happen, it will be in those areas, in my opinion. But again, in the slight risk, that's going to be very widespread now, all the way into the New Orleans area and near Baton Rouge, all the way up into the areas in the coastal areas of North Carolina. So very widespread as well. Again, that's where we're seeing a potential chance for seeing there's a decent chance for possibly seeing tornadoes in these areas right here. And the slight risk, and that's going to be also including areas like Meridian and Hattiesburg that saw tornadoes again not only Easter but also last Sunday. Also going to be seeing very strong severe weather moving to the northern Georgia area once again, just like Easter outbreak, except we're not seeing a moderate risk here, but we are seeing up to a slight and enhanced risk for the areas who got hit really hard, especially areas south of Atlanta where we saw tornadoes there in central Georgia, and then this enhanced risk will go all the way up to South Carolina, and then this again. Enhanced risk is where we have our best chance. We're seeing incredibly strong severe weather. The worst of it so far for Thursday. Again, level 3 out of a 5. That's going to be throughout many areas out here into Georgia, Florida, northern Florida, even parts of far eastern Louisiana, much of the far southern tip of Mississippi. Again, that's where we're seeing our best chance for seeing the severe weather probability with tornadoes, hail, and all of that. Again, 30% chances here. So again, with 30% chance, that basically means 30% chance either means a level 3 or 4. And we already have a level 3, so maybe, hopefully, we don't have a level 4. But again, this is where we have a very widespread, as you can tell, including major cities like Atlanta in that enhanced risk, and Savannah, Macon, also including the Tallahassee area. Now we're going to be looking at the STP here. Or actually, I skipped that. I actually going to look at the radar. So again, here we're going to be looking at these very strong bands developing later tomorrow. And this is actually tomorrow, because later these bands will be really happening today, very late in the late hours. So definitely not really much for today, really. But as we get later into tomorrow, again, very strong bands. We're going to be seeing multiple bands, not just one, not just two, but multiple. As we'll be seeing just really unlimited moisture coming in, and also some shear with these westerly winds. That's going to cause multiple bands. Again, very strong bands near Tulsa. Going to be seeing some scattered bands for Kansas, and also very strong bands moving to the northern half of Oklahoma. That will be pushing it a bit more into southeastern Kansas. Starting to see these bands arriving later on Wednesday into in the afternoon. As for Arkansas, again, still yet to really arrive for Louisiana, much of western Arkansas and Texas, mainly seeing Oklahoma in the early hours of Wednesday, but then later on we start to see these bands later on into tomorrow forming here. These will be very small linear bands, but again, they have a potential for seeing very strong small supercells here. Again, these smaller bands are the really big threats, not just the big ones that are very powerful like these, but these smaller ones are also really those ones that really if you zoom in, cause a lot of hook echoes that we generally see with tornadoes. Again, starting to see that severe weather arriving now a bit more into southwestern Missouri. I would not doubt that slight risk does get pushed up into the southwestern part near Joplin. Multiple bands heading toward Tulsa. Tulsa definitely be seeing those very strong bands again. Here by Wednesday night, you're seeing that finally these bands arriving into Louisiana. Could be just south of Shreveport. We see the worst of it, and then also heading in more just south of Little Rock. We'll be seeing those worst of the bands again. Very strong bands. That low pressure system still set into Oklahoma. And then again, by Thursday morning, it's still really moving into Louisiana, still this exact same band. So I think it's definitely going to be late in the hours, around maybe 8 or maybe 9 or 10 Central Time. It will start arriving to Louisiana. So definitely need to watch out, because now, for once, these bands will be heading in the overnight hours for this time for Louisiana. Out of the two bands that actually it started in the morning. Again, this low pressure system will be heading over to Arkansas. It's strengthening these very strong bands, which is actually why we actually have this enhanced risk in the first place from Arkansas. Very, again, powerful bands moving to the Mississippi River area near out there into Memphis. And then by Thursday, these bands just go full on, these bands are just going to go completely crazy. Again, we're seeing these strong bands now definitely strengthening here. Going to be seeing that heavier rain now for the Ohio Valley. Could be seeing a general risk there, maybe a marginal. And again, very powerful, multiple bands. Again, very big risk for Monroe. Once again, very powerful bands. This will be in the early morning hours here. Again, very powerful bands heading out there into the areas near Meridian, moving towards Hattiesburg, except not moving now northeastern like the other one, but this would be moving south out here because this low pressure system is moving the other way around. Again, very strong bands, and once again moving towards Birmingham. Will be arriving around Thursday in the day this time. For once, they do arrive in the day for Georgia. Georgia has just seen really just a lot of overnight tornadoes, as much of Alabama, and then seen that very big risk again for the areas as well into the Panhandle area. Doesn't look like as much as you would think in the enhanced risk for the Panhandle, but now we'll be looking at the STP here with significant tornado parameter. Again, we'll be measuring with everything in the atmosphere and all the ingredients and percentage or the chance out of a bar. This bar on the side right here for a chance for possibly seeing maybe a tornado. Again, not a Toricon, but it's like one. So here we see our maximum STPs, our highest, basically the highest risk area for tornadoes. Again, early into Wednesday, we're going to be seeing two risks. It's going to be happening in northern Texas and eastern Texas later in the day before it does arrive into Louisiana in the overnight hours. Our biggest risk will actually be up to a 8.5 out there near the Amarillo area, in that Panhandle area, where we see those very strong bands developing there throughout tomorrow. And we get even higher, almost to a 10, we almost get a 2-8-10, which is almost a very, very high risk for possibly seeing tornadoes. So, again, we're possibly seeing tornadoes throughout Texas, Oklahoma, all the way up to North Carolina once this severe weather outbreak is over. Again, that will diminish as those bands do now move more into the eastward. As you can tell, you're going to be seeing this risk move east with these bands. And then we start to see this risk getting a bit higher now, just out of nowhere. Seeing now another 7 up popping up. Going to be seeing around a 4 for Texas later on, and or for Dallas, sorry, not just Texas. And then again, you're now going to be seeing the 6.5 risk now getting to Louisiana by Thursday morning. It does arrive early in the morning, like around maybe 3 a.m. Those worst of it. And again, it's going to be arriving the first band around 10 o'clock, really, if not maybe a bit later, which is not something you want to deal with your third outbreak in a row with an enhanced risk in some of these areas. So again, as we continue to move on, you're going to be seeing this risk diminishing once again, and then popping back up out here in southwestern Georgia. So it diminishes in Texas, comes back, diminishes in the south central, and comes back, diminishes again, and then comes back. So we're seeing a pattern where we possibly see these tornadoes. Very likely, you're going to be seeing. That's why you're going to be seeing such a widespread threat throughout these couple of days. Again, you're going to be seeing a 7.4 in Georgia, and then you possibly see in the next 60 hours. Later Friday, seeing that risk again extending into southern Georgia, and possibly seeing some higher numbers extending to South Carolina. Now we're looking at the SCP, which is supercell composite parameter, as same thing as the tornado one, except of course it's going to be higher numbers because tornado is very it's going to have a smaller graph or smaller numbers. Again, this is for supercells, which supercells again have a really defined rotation, which does cause tornadoes. Going to usually see a hook echo. That's going to indicate that. Also going to be seeing the velocity. Really close to each other, which is going to be indicating rotation. So we're going to be looking at how high this chance for supercell is in Texas all the way to North Carolina. So again, we're using that risk again in the first couple of hours of Wednesday, of course, in northern Texas, and also in western Oklahoma. And then we see it diminish once again then out there in eastern Texas and Dallas, while we have the enhanced risk now for Wednesday, that's when we see extended again. Seeing now up to 18.7. So really in general, if you don't really know this really well, really above a 10 is really a decent chance for seeing supercells. Usually this SCP is a lot more accurate than the STP, which is for tornadoes, because with the last outbreak where we had those very higher numbers, we actually saw tornadoes in all those areas. So this is very accurate. But once it gets past a 20, which is above a 20, once the number that you see here is above a 20, that's when it gets very interesting. That's a very high chance for seeing supercells developing again. It diminishes, and now we see this risk now extending to western Texas, seeing now 14, which is actually a decent chance. It to be between a decent to a lower high risk for seeing some supercells developing, and that does diminish, and we see a really high number extending. I don't know, we're getting around to a 14, which is a decent chance for seeing some supercells again. And then the numbers skyrocket. Now seeing a 20 just again west of Houston, seeing a very high risk with those bands that do develop in eastern Texas. Again, that's once it gets past a 20, it's considered very high for a single supercell, and it seems like we're going to be seeing a very high risk there. Again, for the Dallas area and for much of northeastern Texas, we're going to be scattered areas that can be seeing around a 9 throughout up to a 14. So Dallas again also need to risk watch out again as we get now moving to Thursday morning. As you can just see with this is going to be following with the band. So this is like watching a radar, for example, just seeing it moving eastward at the exact same pace as the radar again. Very high numbers for eastern Texas and much of western Louisiana can be seeing a range from around a 12 to a maximum 16 SPC there. I'm going to be seeing very high numbers, so definitely need to worry about those very early tornadoes and strong supercells in the early hours of the morning for Louisiana. We could get climbing out around a 20 again. It does diminish a little bit, just like the STP. And then as we get now back into the southeast, back in business now for southwestern Georgia, area southern Alabama. That's when we start to see these numbers climb up once again around the next 50 hours. We start to see these numbers again at 10. That's around a decent chance of possibly seeing a supercell, and that's to be scattered throughout Louisiana and also all the way down to Alabama as these bands do arrive. And then numbers do climb up once again, getting around a 15 here for Alabama and areas once again to Louisiana. So not out of the woods of Louisiana as of all the way by Thursday. And then we see a huge a number increase of 27.4, which would be the highest out of this whole system. Let's actually go back. 27.4, which is the highest out of these 3 days of this outbreak here. And that will be in Georgia, as you can tell, 27.4 right there into southwestern Georgia, where we have the enhanced risk. This is going to be the area where we could possibly see that moderate risk be extended again, seeing that very high numbers as well, or moderately high numbers out there into southern Missouri or Mississippi as well. And again, very decent to high numbers as well into Georgia. And then we'll continue to see these numbers very high again up to 24 though into Georgia and entering South Carolina and starting to leave Alabama. So again, very high numbers as you can tell. Now we are going to be looking at the Cape Valleys exactly, see how much energy we're going to be seeing in this atmosphere again. You're going to be seeing these. You're going to be seeing a lot of wind shear. I think you're going to be seeing these westerly winds right here. You're going to be seeing all these westerly winds coming from the west. Again, also coming from the north, and you're also going to be seeing these winds coming from the southeast and the Gulf, which we always see. So that's going to cause a whole ton of wind shear, which is going to be increasing that risk, and that's going to be increasing the oh my gosh, I hate when this happens. Increase the energy in the south central, as you can see. Again, Cape Valley is the amount of energy we're going to be seeing the atmosphere to cause really strong systems. Again, we're going to be seeing it near a lot up to 4,000. We're going to be seeing some really high 3,000s as we get around 5 o'clock tomorrow. These numbers get a lot worse. Look at Dallas. Dallas is now 4,600. Fort Worth, 4,200. Near the Plano area, 4,600. Arlington, 4,600. 4,800. Just in between Fort Worth and Dallas. And again, continue to see these very high 4,000s and very high 3,000s in between all the way to the southern border there with Mexico. This is where we think very, very interesting. Right here near Austin, a ton of energy, going to get close to the 4,000 or 5,000s. We're going to be seeing high 5,000s up to 5,700. Waco 5,000, and then just moving to Texas, or once it passes Dallas, just east of Dallas, we can possibly see the worst of it for tomorrow's Seagoville 4,700, almost 5,000. And by 11 o'clock, numbers do die down a little bit, but as we get later Thursday at 11 o'clock, numbers will continue to move in now in the morning hours as we see those stronger bands moving to the south central. By 5 o'clock, again, seeing some higher numbers now starting to stretch into Georgia. We're going to be seeing some scattered 2,000s, almost some lower 3,000s. By 8 o'clock, numbers do die down a little bit. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This will be my last video today. I'm going to be, again, making a couple more, a decent amount of uploads for tomorrow and also Thursday, since we possibly have a very, very good chance for severe weather. Everybody stay safe, and bye, guys.